Hi guys! So this is a Spider-Verse art book review. It's that bit. Now, if you haven't watched Across the Spider-Verse, what are you doing? It's one of the films that are just the groundbreaking there, revolutionary. In 100 years, when people are studying, they'll refer back to this film. It's that type of movie. So let's get into the art book. So, first of all, I want to say, I love the film, obviously. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. Again, I don't know why you're watching this if you haven't seen it, but in summary, without spoilers, if I had to use one word, I'd say magnificent. Let me get into the art book for the people that have seen it. So what does this art book do? What if you never had the experience of art book before? What is an art book? So it basically takes you behind the scenes of all the concepts and all the thoughts that artists and directors had. It's basically like a diary of everything it took to get to the final product, which was an amazing film, obviously. So that's basically what it is. This art book, however, is something next level. So after watching the film, I gravitated towards a lot of new Spider-Man characters, and there were some that maybe I didn't have the greatest connection to. But this art book, with no love for some characters, I came out of it thinking every single character is awesome. Some I love more for obvious reasons, personal reasons, what they've done in the story and just the designs. But I was like, wow, I really appreciate this character, even though I had favourites and they weren't really battling to be a favourite. But I was like, then you know what? The work that went behind that character, that's really cool. So we start off with going behind the aftermath, the success and aftermath of the first film, and what the directors and creators wanted to be like. We really like this, but we want to evolve in this. How do we change that? So I really like that self-acknowledgement, because they could have just been this just started from the second film and everything, but then you're where's that input from the first film? Because it's the same art style as well, so you want to hear about how they improved it, because the second film was so the first film was amazing to look at, but the second film, the way it's animated is it's perfection. So you wanted to know why they could have done the same style and it still would have been a great movie, but you want to know why they improved it so much, and obviously it paid off. So yeah, that was really nice. Then we get into concepts behind the characters. Some of these characters I've never heard of before when I watched the movie the first time, but they're comics from maybe something like the 60s, even more recent times, 2011, 2005, stuff like that. And wow, never knew this character existed. But for this movie to be the introduction, that's just super awesome. So, and I really love as well that there's so many different artists involved, and they show the concept, because they could have just shown if there was one artist that made the final thing, they could have just showed all their work and be well, this is the most important artist, because even though there's lots of steps, they were the one that actually made the final design. But they showed different artists, they all went their own styles as well. I really appreciate it. It makes the book look like a museum. They just curated so thoughtfully, and giving credit to the artists. And I'm ooh. So now I know, I really like this art. Now I know their name. I can search out the other works, maybe contact them, and that's a really really cool idea as well. And then we get into as well, doing realism style, doing more impressionistic, doing surrealism, and we see wow, some designs I'm I love the final product. I'm you know that the first kind of pass of that design, I'm kind of like, that's a really cool design. Like, if there was a game, that would be a great DLC or just all in a costume. Not, but I didn't see any designs. It's like, that's better than a final design. That's the final design for next level. But I did see some really cool designs. I was like, ooh, that's like, if there was like under the Spider-Man 2 game, Insomniac, like that would be great DLC for that, you know. So yeah, then just really explain like the background and kind of the feel of the author and how the world's like, you see in Spider-Verse, you see Gwen's world and it's like all watercolory and everything and that, and you see like the reason behind it as well, and then you see there's like a kind of vulture that's inspired by like Leonardo da Vinci, and you kind of see like his world as well through like the way they animated it and looked like an old sketchy time illustration. Like you don't just like awesome characters in like kind of normal worlds and the characters stand up because they're awesome, which they are. Kind of the worlds kind of revolve around them, and it just makes it everything more thoughtful, and you just really appreciate it as well. Like the attention to environment design is super epic. So I would recommend this book 10 out of 10. My favorite character is Spider-Punk, and I got to see him like in the book, and I was just so elated. Like, okay, yeah, I like recommend this book. Like, you really understand if you're any sort of creative or want to be, and you understand like everything put behind the character. You're like, oh, so that's what makes me care about a character. Not just that they look cool as well, but these kind of things, this emotional availability makes me care about the way that like how unafraid they were to change designs that have been established for like over 50 years just for this movie. It shows you like some of them, they was like, we know where we want to go with this, and they're all paid off. We see, I really loved Spider-Man in India. And we didn't know that the main artist behind was actually Indian as well. That's just so amazing. Like, it's just a love letter to art. This art book is in the movie. It's just a love letter to cinema. And I couldn't recommend it anymore. So, thank you for watching this review. I do want to say as well, this book, like, for the quality of it, is actually relatively cheap. And I was like, whoa, is this price? And because it's obviously a legendary movie and thing, and it will justify the price. But I was like, wow, that's just a really good entry point for people that like appreciate a masterpiece and just want to learn more about it. You know, keep a bit of it in their house or wherever they live, and just be like, if I'm looking for inspiration, I open this book. There it is. So another thing I want to say as well is, I feel like this book is like, if you're an artist and you feel stuck on one style and you kind of feel like scared about your boundaries because you think it will look wrong, don't be. There's no mistakes in this book in terms of art or writing or any mistakes at all. But this book teaches you like, this is the same character like you see in a concept. And you see how many different styles and different like mediums used, and you're like, whoa, I really get that character, even though it's in a different style. Like, even look at different color schemes as well. Like, you see someone like Spot in the movie, he's white and black, and then at the end he's like black and then white, and then there's green on him and blue on him, and when it's got more powerful. And you're like, you can do that with your characters. They don't have to transform. They don't have to have powers, but they can be like, well, instead of creating a human, and I guess it just looks like a random person, change the skin to like something like green or blue or yellow, like the Simpsons kind of yellow, or a Lego kind of yellow or something like that. And then you're like, the features, yeah, they look all day, but now I made them an alien. Now we're the planet that can really do crazy stuff with it. So, yeah, thank you for watching. This is an amazing book. 10 out of 10. 10? 1 million out of 10. A billion out of 10. Just honestly, like, perfection.